Week 13 of the college football season, and here in the American, you could say that we are saving the best for last. UTSA at Tulane, these two teams picked 1 and 2 in the media poll here to start the season. We get the matchup that we've all been waiting for, both undefeated right now in conference play for essentially what is a playoff game headed into our championship. The winner of this Black Friday showdown is a lock to the American Conference Championship on December 2nd on ABC. If the Green Wave were to win, based on the current CFP rankings, Tulane would ultimately host the championship. The only way this changes is dependent on what the committee does tonight. If SMU, also perfect in conference play, but currently unranked, somehow jumps ahead of Tulane. And we have a whole lot to get to. And with that, we welcome in our college football analyst and the former Rice quarterback, Taylor McHargue. Taylor, I say UTSA at Tulane. Your first reaction is what?
I think the American Conference got exactly what they wanted when we saw this schedule released several months ago. And this entire season for both of these teams built to this moment. And 3 teams in this conference, undefeated still in conference play. It's the only conference in college football that can say that. And just like you said, Morgan, it has all built towards this Black Friday showdown.
The Roadrunners seem to really figure things out once conference play got going. And man, are they playing some of their best ball yet with what we saw senior night. Quarterback Frank Harris, his final time inside in front of those San Antonio fans, ends up setting a school record in total offense. What makes this offense for UTSA, Taylor, so difficult to stop?
Well, first thing is that you've got a veteran quarterback that knows exactly where to go with the football. And I also think he's gotten more and more healthy and confident running the football as the season has gone along. And that built to this performance you saw a week ago against South Florida, where it goes for over 400 yards passing, but added over 100 yards rushing. And I think if you can build to that and you can carry that forward against Tulane with how good we know that pass rush is and that front is for Tulane, I think that's critical. And then the bigger piece also for UTSA is how big Trey Moore has been for them on the other side. Leads the nation in sacks from that rush in spot. And that pass rush has been fantastic for them all season. They're playing their best football when it matters most in the month of November.
And on the other side of things, you were just down in Boca Raton to see Tulane face FAU. We were questioning the Green Wave and not being able to put together complete performances, but they finally come away with their largest margin of victory since September, a 16-point win over the Owls. Taylor, you were on that call. What stood out?
Well, I think if you look at the final score, 24-8, that wouldn't lead you to believe that it was a dominating performance. But if you watched the game and you were there, it really did feel that way. It felt like Tulane was in control the entire game, really did not give an inch to FAU for the entire 4 quarters. And I think the biggest piece that Tulane is struggling with right now is just injuries on the outside. Their top 3 pass catchers have either been out or limited. We saw Yulkeith Brown with 1 long catch last week, which was good to see him back in action. That's the piece that I'm looking for in this matchup. Do they get some of those pieces back? Because Michael Pratt knows where to go with the football, but those explosive pieces that he needs for those shot plays over the top in the passing game, it's just not there right now. But it was a dominating performance on the defensive side against FAU. And like you mentioned, largest margin of victory we've seen from them in quite some time.
Pratt became the school's all-time passing yardage leader. He needed 219 to break it. He ended up throwing for 252 yards and 3 touchdowns. Taylor, these are 2 of the best quarterbacks here in this conference. We get to see Frank Harris against Michael Pratt. As a former quarterback yourself, who has the edge in this one?
I think right now I would say it's Frank Harris because he has more of his weapons available to him right now, and he's gotten healthy like we talked about, and he's added that second dimension of really being able to run the football effectively. Michael Pratt is still a guy. I mean, there's a reason he was the first invite to the Senior Bowl this year as a junior. First time that the Senior Bowl's allowed that, and they go to him first and say, hey, we'd like to extend an invite to you. That speaks volumes to how good Michael Pratt is. The problem is, again, his top pass catchers on the outside are still banged up. And he's throwing to guys that at the first part of the season, you would not have said, Willie Fritz would not have said, hey, in crunch time, we want to be going to some of these guys on the outside. They're stepping up, doing the best they can. But I think right now it's advantage Frank Harris because, again, he's got more of his pieces available to him right now.
All right, so you have Harris as the advantage on the quarterback side, but overall, with this matchup, UTSA, Tulane, who you picking in this one?
Yeah, I like UTSA to win this game. And a big reason why if you look at Tulane this year, it's an offense that they have not gotten to 40 points at any point this season. And down the stretch, think back to East Carolina a couple weeks ago, just 13 points in that game. FAU this past week, just 24 points. I think it's a race to 30 points, and I think UTSA can get there. I think they've got that in the bag, especially with the way Frank Harris has been playing. And then the biggest piece on the other side for Tulane, like I mentioned, can they slow down that pass rush from Trey Moore? Because he does such a good job. Even when UTSA just rushes four and they don't blitz and add a fifth or sixth defender, they're still getting consistent pressure. That's the key on Michael Pratt. Make him uncomfortable. Try and move him around some, because if you don't, that guy is so efficient. He's the most efficient quarterback in the American Conference. If you let him sit there and work through his progression, he's going to pick you apart. Again, I go back to the injuries for Tulane. To me, is the reason I give UTSA the advantage in this game. I think UTSA wins this, and then it'll come down to between UTSA and SMU, assuming SMU beats Navy, which one of those teams ends up hosting the conference championship.
UTSA fans are certainly going to love your pick, and I'm sure the Green Wave fans will have something to say about it. Let's hear from all of you on social media. Do you agree with Taylor? We'd love to hear your take. And for the Roadrunners, they are 13-1 in the month of November under head coach Jeff Traylor, and you have them moving up to 14-1. So we will see. Certainly can't wait. The American right now, Taylor, you mentioned it, the only conference in the country right now, 3 undefeated teams with UTSA, Tulane, and SMU. The Mustangs won't have faced either the Green Wave or Roadrunners, and this championship matchup will be determined by the results of 2 games in Week 13. Of course, this Tulane and UTSA matchup, and then Navy at SMU. That game on Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2, so we could find out as early as Saturday, but depending on how things shake out, we may even have to wait until Sunday until those computer rankings officially come out. But it has certainly been an incredible American Conference football season. We are loving the way that this is shaking out, and no matter what happens, it's going to be a great matchup come December 2nd, and we appreciate you joining us each and every week. Taylor, thanks so much.
Absolutely. It's been an awesome season. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody. And Morgan, it's been a lot of fun covering the American with you this year.